Welcome. I'm Hauwa, Salihu, Adama. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the nation's armed forces and other security agencies in the country to immediately reverse the current worrisome trend in the security situation of the country, describing it as intolerable. Addressing the top brass of Nigeria's security architecture, he summoned to a crucial meeting. The president was emphatic that their best is so far not good enough towards restoring the desired peace enterprise for national growth and development. State House correspondent Adama will give us details in our subsequent bulletin. And President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Evarista Ndayishimiye on assumption of office as president of Burundi after a swearing-in ceremony in the political capital, Gitega. A statement by the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, says the president also felicitates with the government and people of Burundi on the historic peaceful transition to a democratically elected government after the sudden demise of President Pierre Nkurunziza. With a resounding victory at the polls, the Nigerian leader believes that President Ndayishimiye, who had served as Secretary General of the ruling CNDD-FDD party and played an active role in guiding the country on the path of peace and development, has what it takes to consolidate democracy in the East African country. President Buhari looks forward to working with the new Burundian leader and his government to strengthen the warm relationship between the two countries. Now to the latest on COVID-19. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has reported 587 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. This new figure raises the number of confirmed cases to 17,735 in Nigeria. In the breakdown, Lagos again has the highest number of the day with 155 cases. Edo comes second with 75. The Federal Capital Territory has 67, Rivers 65, Oyo 56, Delta 50, Bayelsa 25, Plateau and Kaduna 18 each, Enugu 17, while Borno and Ogun states have 12 each. Ondo recorded 7, Kwara 4, Kanu and Gombe have 2 cases each, while Sokoto and Kebbi recorded 1 case each. Lagos remains top on the Nigeria COVID-19 chart with 7,616. Next is the Federal Capital Territory with 1,391, followed by Kano with 1,160. About 469 people are reported to have died from COVID-19 complications so far, while 5,967 patients have been discharged after recovery, leaving the country with 11,299 active cases. At a time the world battles continued threats of the global coronavirus pandemic on human lives, the economy and other social structures, community response to infectious preventive measures to curtail spread of the dreaded scourge still remains on the average. This is the assessment of the National Orientation Agency during the presentation of its second-term report on impacts of COVID-19 lockdown in the country by the National Orientation Agency. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Alarming rise in number of infected persons from COVID-19 in the new phase of lockdown has engaged and sustained stakeholders' commitment in preventing further spread of the virus, and as an agency empowered by law to enlighten Nigerians on issues of national importance, the National Orientation Agency says cultural, religious and social beliefs constitute setbacks to manage the pandemic.
The existence of persistent disbelief and the mystical interpretation of the danger and the impact of COVID-19 among Nigerians, despite being aware of the disease. Our report also showed that the lockdown was initially effective, but subsequently it waned.
Director General NOA Garba Abari expressed displeasure over non-compliance with COVID-19 restrictions, which largely account for increase in community transmission, but was quick to say more strategies are underway for aggressive awareness.
The NOA found in the Policy and the Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC, a formidable ally to defend the sensitization efforts of government. This partnership has seen the NOA and the plaque reaching the public in local communities of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory with targeted, clear, and specific information on COVID-19 awareness and prevention.
The National Orientation Agency appeals for adequate support at the sub-national levels to effectively educate the public on certain risky behaviors that could hamper the success in the fight against the pandemic. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Many residents of Lagos were earlier today stranded following unprecedented rainfall that submerged the roads. Ken Egbeluge has the situation report.
These are images of many layers of metropolitan Lagos. The heavy rainfall, which began in the early hours of Thursday, was torrential and intense. Being a work day, crowds of people were trapped in their homes. Indoors was as flooded as the outdoors.
The issue is very critical. Imagine this kind of river. I used to hear it in the Bible, River Niger, River Benue, but what I'm seeing now is it's even more than what they recorded in the Bible.
Most of the vehicles are being locked down. Maybe water entering their kickstarts and every other thing. It's so disastrous to the extent that most vehicles are packed. If you go down the road, you see tankers and other vehicles. By the side of us, you see a car just packed down.
The distress soundbites are regular during the rainy season. The flooding of homes and the different routes in Lagos was due largely to poor drainage maintenance and inhabitant nature of the topography of specific locations. The emphasis is on ridding the drainage of unwanted waste as the rainy season sets to peak. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
Okay, we now join Ken in Lagos for more on that situation you saw there. Ken, can you hear me? Could you tell us how the situation has changed since we got those pictures from you?
Okay, thank you, Hauwa. In the morning, I reported that there was serious flood in Lagos. When the rain stopped, the water receded. So for now, the road is a bit free. But those that are going back home, they're almost stranded at present. They're waiting for vehicles, but there are no vehicles for them to take them home. But for now, the road is clear and the vehicles are moving freely.
What do you think would be the problem? Is it a situation of a state of the drainage of some of the communities you visited, the roads being blocked?
One of the major problems in Lagos is flood, and the reason is not far-fetched. One is that the drainages are blocked. Every time when it rains, people find it difficult to move about because they indiscriminately throw their dirt on the road. For now, I spoke to the Lagos State government in charge of drainage. They said they've started clearing the drainages in Lagos.
They are clearing the drainages in Lagos, but what are they doing to sensitize the people?
Yes.
What are they doing currently to sensitize the people to take ownership?
I understand. Okay, now they are telling them that they should dispose their waste properly. Don't throw them on the drainages to ensure that there is free flow of water whenever it rains. So there's serious awareness amongst Lagos residents.
Okay, that will be all for now. Thank you very much, Ken. But we'll still stay with Lagos and join Adeola in our Lagos studios for more reports. Adeola.
you, Hauwa. Working in harmony with nature is an effort that can prevent land degradation and reserve biodiversity loss. Restoration of land rather than its destruction will also go a long way in improving food quality, create more jobs and opportunities. The solution, experts say, lies in agroforestry and change in consumption pattern. Environment correspondent Jennifer Igwe tells us more.
For most people in a fast-paced urban city like Lagos, when desertification is mentioned, the first thing that comes to mind is an expanding desert taking over villages and communities. In reality, however, desertification refers to the way land can be transformed by climatic factors, human activities, deforestation, overgrazing, cultivation in unsuitable land, poor land use, and overuse of groundwater, among other factors. Studies also show that desertification has degraded about 2 billion hectares of productive land worldwide. And most times, drought occurs in places affected by desertification. People in the Sahel region of Africa have had bitter experiences as a result of this. Experts say agroforestry, which is the incorporation of trees into farming systems, has great potential of checking the effects of drought, prevent desertification, and restore degraded soils.
One, erosion is reduced. We have increased biodiversity, and also we have the yield of the crop that is of concern to the farmer.
Nigeria is a signatory to the Forum of Forests and has pledged to restore millions of hectares of land by year 2030 by planting 25 million trees yearly.
We're already on the field planting. Forestry Science of Nigeria is planting about 13.5 million seedlings, while Grading was planting about 7.5 million. NTA in Lagos also raised about 3 million.
It's important for us to be interested and get on board in restoration of land. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Terminal operators, shipping companies, and other service providers in the maritime subsector will soon be mandated to pay reversible charges of at least 50% for services not promptly delivered. Michael Olaleye reports that this is to protect the interest of port users who have been paying extra charges for delay caused by the operators.
That we don't want people to be accepting cash. It's not fair. People can be harmed because they have cash.
One of the various allegations leveled against this terminal operator at Tinkan Island, a development that is frustrating cargo evacuation and inhibiting the quest to automate processes at the seaports. To add salt to an already complicated injury, clearing agents at the ports also accused the terminal of collecting charges for services not rendered. Chris Ahimie is a clearing agent. He narrated a scenario which occurred last Saturday in which agents were forced to pay extra charges for delay caused by the terminal.
The common was 40.
Very good.
When common was 40,
yes.
We have a lot. They still debited. They came and told me. They showed me and said, look at, Chairman.
The Nigerian Shippers Council, as part of its enforcement responsibility, frowned at the action, threatening to seal off the terminal without hindering service delivery to users.
Meanwhile, we will ensure also that no cargo is gated in, so that they too will lose that business and know how painful it is when they suffer these agents or the owners of cargo. And any place where we see that cargo movement is being distorted, that will appear immediately, even if it's going to be like magic.
Maureen Balogun is the chief accountant of the terminal, and there is nothing she could do to defend the organization but struggle with these few words.
No, not charging them for the Saturday. As at when you made your payments and you are ready for delivery, and because of the karma issue, you weren't able to go. You will go just with what you have paid.
The Nigerian Shippers Council promised to take action against terminal operators and shipping companies that violate its mandates on cargo facilitation. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. The news will continue in Abuja after then. Thank you.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
The Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, wishes to inform all eligible pensioners and next of kin of defunct Nigerian Aviation Handling Company, NACO, that the Directorate is ready to pay the first batch of the verified ex-workers and next of kin. This is in line with the federal government's approval to take over pension-related matters of some defunct agencies that were privatized by the Bureau for Public Enterprises, among which is NACO. The pensioners and next of kin are to note that the payment is one-off. Payment will be made in batches subject to availability of funds. The effective date of privatization of NACO was 31st August 2005. All NACO ex-workers engaged after August 31st, 2005 do not qualify for any entitlement under this arrangement. All ex-workers who exited the company prior to the privatization of NACO had been fully settled by the company and do not have any outstanding terminal benefits. The federal government is not responsible for the period served beyond the effective date of NACO privatization. Thus, all ex-workers and next of kin in this category are not under the purview of PTAD. The Directorate wishes to assure all pensioners that their welfare remains our priority at all times. Announcer, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme, Executive Secretary.
Wetin be this coronavirus thing? Na true?
You see this coronavirus, wey be COVID-19, na the whole world palava, and e don dey kill many people for China, Italy, UK, US, Spain, and even for other countries dem.
Okay, wetin come be the reason wey dem say make everybody tanda for house?
Na because if e dey waka pium go carry am from person wey don get am, you go carry come give your family dem. Na so the thing take dey kill other people for other countries.
Okay, wetin come be that social distancing sef?
You see social distance. Now make we no come close, because this thing na from air and touch. Now we dey contact am. We suppose dey at least 6 foot away from each other every time.
So okay, no be only to wash your hand and to sanitize them alone.
Make we no take this washing of hand thing take play, but make we come together, join hand as we take pursue Ebola, pursue this coronavirus. Make we be each other be keepers now.
This is a very important message. Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. It not even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No they to receive visitors, so even if not your grandchildren. Make extra mask where you go fit wash, make like 2 and dash your number 1. And if they come out for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water. To avoid coronavirus, make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. No forget, Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Na coalition of societies for the right of older persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
Thanks for rejoining Nationwide. The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture is working towards a partnership with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs to launch a national campaign against rape and gender-based violence. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed disclosed this when he granted audience to a delegation from the National Human Rights Commission led by its Executive Secretary, Anthony Ojukwu, in Abuja. Over now to Anthony Fossen.
Domestic violence is commonly committed against women, and in Nigeria, it is always rape acid attacks, molestation, wife battering, and corporal punishment. With the Nigerian government taking legal proceedings to prosecute culprits, the Human Rights Commission of Nigeria has embarked on a 5-day activism tagged Equality and Dignity for Nigerian Women. This advocacy the Commission took to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed. In commending the Commission for its ongoing advocacy, Lai Mohammed said statistics have it that between January and May this year, a total of 717 rape cases were reported, making an average of 143 a month and about 5 cases per day.
The good news, however, is that between January and May this year, about 800 suspects were arrested, while 631 cases were conclusively investigated and charged to court.
It is against this background that the minister disclosed the planned partnership between the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs to create the awareness for citizens to own the fight.
I can assure you that the federal government will do everything possible to stem the growing tide of rape and gender-based violence in the country.
There is need to target men champions on the campaign against rape and critical voices that speak out against rape and SDBV. Community leaders, religious leaders, heads of households should be targeted in the sensitization on rape and sexual and gender-based violence.
He assured the minister that the advocacy will be stepped up to drive home the point that victims have a right to dignity. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Still on violence against women, Nigerian women journalists have since joined counterpart women groups in Nigeria in the advocacy against rape. It is against this backdrop that the Niger State chapter of NAWAJ, led by the chairperson, Mary Noor Berjay, took a step further to request TIFA laws to deter perpetrators. Fatima Usman reports on the interface between Niger State lawmakers and the women journalists in Niger State.
Among suspects recently paraded before newsmen by the Niger State Police Command was a 24-year-old young man for raping an 85-year-old woman and another 50-year-old man for forcefully having carnal knowledge of his 2 biological daughters. The state has also recorded cases of rape of minors. These form part of the 70% of women in the country facing physical and sexual assault. The Niger State chapter of the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWAJ, says these recent happenings around the state are not good omen for a state that has been known for peaceful coexistence.
We are therefore making a passionate appeal to the authorities concerned to, as a matter of urgency, review all the current child-related laws with a view to strengthening it in order to come up with stiffer punishment to perpetrators of these evil acts.
The lawmakers say passage of stiffer laws is not enough to curb the menace, called for unity of purpose with the police force and the judiciary, who are charged with the implementation.
We must all of us to ensure that every case of rape is summoned to the latter.
Enacting a law to enable the Child Rights Agency established by the Niger State government to protect children's rights was also requested by the women journalists. In Mina, I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
And from Mina, we go to Jos, where Felicia is on standby with more reports. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, Hauwa. Welcome to Jos. More funding is needed to consolidate Nigeria's drive towards digitizing broadcast media in the country. This came to the fore during an oversight assessment visit to the Jos Center of the NTA Integrated Television Services by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC. Elizabeth Tukai Andrew reports.
4 years into digitalization of broadcast media, Jos, being the pilot city, has received an increased capacity in broadcast transmission, better signal quality, and high-definition services and interactivity. The team, on an oversight visit, is to see the level of preparedness for the switch-on on the part of the integrated television services and the challenges so far.
You see, we still have a very long way to go. And this can require a lot of money, which sum of fund. And before you can go and ask for fund for our licensing like this, you must be able to come here physically to see how far they have gone.
We're very sure that very soon after submitting our report, we're very sure that the ecosystem will start again and will start to roll out. They've seen our limitation, they've seen what we have done so far, they've seen how we have been transmitting for the past 4 years without funding.
National Broadcasting Commission, being the arrowhead of the digitization process, is advocating on the way forward for more coverage in states yet to be on board.
We cannot do it in isolation of one other sector. So the whole industry, the whole broadcasting industry is involved in this evolution. And it's the thing that we must all do to make sure that we get to the 100% we're talking about.
Digital switchover, though halted for a while, has so far reached Kwara, Abuja, Oshun, Enugu, and Kaduna states. In Jos, Alisa Botukai Andrew, NTA News.
The Nigerian Television Authority has been applauded for supporting and promoting human rights activities towards a violence-free society. This was when the National Human Rights Commission, Plateau State, paid a courtesy visit to the management of NTA Network Center Jos to solicit robust partnership in the wake of increasing cases of rape and other gender-based violence. The report.
Saddled with the mandate of protecting human rights in the face of violence, the National Human Rights Commission in Plateau State is on its toes to fight for the most vulnerable, particularly women and children. This necessitated the visit to NTA Network Center Jos, which has been the voice of the voiceless in the face of violence.
So Human Rights Commission has seen it fit that we should also come out, and demonstrate and show our sadness and ensuring that, perpetrators are not are punished and that the victims are rehabilitated.
Zonal Director, NTA Network Center Jos, Peter Ochibu, affirmed the center's readiness and commitment towards ridding the society of rape.
The issue of rape has become a national interest, something of very serious dimension. So we'll continue to do our best in partnering with you people to ensure that this ugly trend that is raising its head all over is brought or reduced to the barest minimum.
The National Human Rights Commission in Jos is to kickstart a week-long activity against rape.
You're still on to Nationwide. More stories in Abuja as we rejoin Hauwa.
Very well, Felicia. Consider the news hunter is now the newsmaker, as a non-governmental organization is seeking to partner with groups interested in expanding the body of knowledge on profitable methods of farming practices. Olabode Arewa tells us more.
Kazim Muftau is a typical fish farmer in Abuja, working within the limits of his knowledge and financial capacity to make a success of the vocation of livestock farming. The good news is that businesses like his can now benefit from the expertise offered by a non-governmental organization. The Gate of Life Foundation is helping farmers and others willing to go into modern animal husbandry to do so. The foundation has embarked on an advocacy in this regard, and the NTA was one of its first set of stops.
And our motives and objective that we comes to NTA today is because we have a vision that we want to create about 20,000 jobs for Nigerians, and it's free. We've been doing this.
The Director of Administration NTA, Tunde Oluwatudemu, who represented the Director General Yakubu Ibu Mohammed, said any initiative in furtherance of the federal government's agricultural revolution would enjoy NTA support.
Your venture is a very welcome one that is also in agreement with the purpose of these things for which NTA was established.
The NGO is expanding the scope of its entrepreneurship training beyond the 6,000 women and youths they say they have already trained in modern livestock production in Abuja, Olabodarewa. NTA News.
Unfortunately, we cannot continue with that report as the OB crew is ready for us with the daily briefing by the PTF on COVID-19.